All right, Coach. Well, thanks so much for joining us for our coaches show that we're starting up new here with our live stream on WIBW. So let me ask you first, Coach. We know you've had a successful program for many years now. You guys were in the playoffs last year, and then the year before, you guys were in the state tournament. So specifically with your program, what is it about your program that just continues for you guys to just have successful seasons year after year after year?
Great question. I've been blessed with just having really talented players come. So, as long as I've been here, I seem to get lucky and have young ladies come through who have a lot of gifts and talents, and so they help me round out a good squad. Pretty much, we're consistent year after year. You kind of have an ebb and flow over the years, but just been lucky.
And now, when you have certain players where, of course, you have Topeka High, you have Topeka West, you have Highland Park, you have so many of the bigger schools around you, and your enrollment's a little bit smaller, right? How do you maybe not adjust, but how do you figure that in with your game plans every week and knowing the talent that you have? How do you work with that, knowing that some kids could go to the bigger schools or they choose to go to your school?
Yeah, I think my coaching philosophy has probably fine-tuned over the years, but I try to push my players to just be their best, both on and off the field. We do a lot of character development, kind of looking at the whole person. And I think that's probably been one of the strengths of our team is I just have really good kids that come out and want to give their all in soccer. And I don't compete. I've coached boys at Cair Paravel for many years, and boys soccer always competed with football. I don't have anybody to compete with during soccer season, so I get everybody that wants to play. So I just have people that are they're invested and they want to be there.
And for this season specifically, Coach, for you, when you, of course, the number one goal is to win that state championship. If people in the community right now don't know about this team specifically, what should we know about them? What is it about this team specifically that maybe people should know about?
Well, I think our record doesn't really speak to the strength of the team this year. I've got a starting senior defender that has been out since the early Wichita tournament with a concussion, and she hasn't even come back yet. So some of these tougher teams that we've played, like Seaman, Hayden, she was in the Hayden game, but Bishop Miege, she wasn't playing in that game. I didn't have my starting goalie in that game. And I feel like we are not yet in the best place that we need to be as far as having all the players in the right spots. And I think once we do that, we're going to hopefully perform even better than we have. So I think we still have our best in front of us for sure. And I'm happy about it happening at this point in the season because, that's when you want to peak is when you're going into tournament play. So
I was just about to ask you that. He actually answered one of my questions. So how do you adjust to that, right? Maybe you have that hot start to the season and then you have the slow start to the season, or, then you peak at the right time. How do you gauge that? How do you understand that about your team where you have to make those adjustments to peak at the right time?
Yeah. And I honestly don't have a pat answer for you because each year is different. And this year we got started off on a colder start than we're used to. And I felt like we were just trying to find the right formation. What we normally use had to be tweaked a little bit, and then putting people in the right spots. And so I think as we've worked together, we're starting to see what really works for us. In the last probably 3 games, we've tried a few new things and tried a new person here or there, and we like what we have. So I don't know. I just moving forward. Luckily, I just have girls that have a great attitude and they're super coachable, and that makes my job so much easier. And people are just willing to help out wherever it serves the team best.
Now, I'm going to switch gears a little bit here. I know, as you mentioned, your daughter, obviously you coached your daughter, Hannah, and went down to Emporia State. We know how great of a player she was down in Emporia, of course, in high school, and just that whole squad, if you will, with Mackenzie and Josie and so many people down in Emporia State. and I imagine you've been to, many of her games when she was at Emporia State. When you
Yeah.
looked at when she went to Emporia State, you were able to coach her. What was that like to be able to be dad and then also, watch her at the college level and coach her? What's that balance like too?
Well, it's funny because, if you've ever coached your kids, you know that sometimes that's harder. I'm a school teacher as well, and teaching my kids was always harder because I expect more out of them. And, Hannah and my son were both a joy to coach. It's more relaxing when I go to watch as a father than as a coach. But I'm also feeling the coaches, anxiety. Emporia got off to a really slow start last year, and they could not find what was working for them. And I just remember having a couple conversations with Brian Seiler. One was down in Florida when they were really struggling to just get set, and it same thing. It something clicked, and they started to groove at the end of the season. It's just it's a delight to be able to watch my daughter play.
And to see the success that that program had and what the nucleus that they had and to see her go from high school to college,
Yeah.
how, as you said, you're proud of her and what she's been able to accomplish. Did you expect that? I'm assuming you expected that out of her, but did you expect that growth so quickly?
Well, Hannah was always a great player for me, always a dynamic impact player. I think the transition took a little while, but I think once she got into the idea of, she's just always had a great work capacity, super hard worker. I attribute that to maybe working on a farm and throwing hay at a young age, but just I knew she was going to work hard, and she was a skilled player, so I fully expected her to have an impact on that team. And luckily, she also had some great teammates that she could work with, and it's just fun to watch.
Absolutely. And coach, let me ask you one last thing about your team specifically. And every year you have different players that come in, the freshmen, you might have a really outstanding freshman. It's not like college where you have the transfer portal. You never know who's going to come in and out. You don't have to worry about that, at least hopefully for a long time. Right. But when you're able to coach a lot of these girls, and obviously you said you coach the boys as well. How, what's beneficial about that when you're able to build with, these certain girls, and what is it about being a coach that should makes it easier for you, or is there any challenges with that? Maybe with this group, anything along those lines?
Yeah, I was just talking to somebody about this the other day. I think one of the benefits I have that makes my job a lot easier is that I teach these young ladies as well as coach them. So I teach middle school, so I've been able to build relationships with every single player before they even come and play soccer for me. So that trust is there. They know I care about them. They know I have their best interest in mind. And I've always found as a teacher and a coach that if a kid knows you really care about them, it's amazing what you can say to them, even some of the hard stuff to help them become a better person. And they know you really have their best interest in mind. So it helps them, it helps that relationship just be strong.
You got that right, coach. Is there anything else that I'm missing? You know what? Let's do this. Maybe so the viewers maybe can know Coach Woolery a little bit better. I love asking this question because I always get great responses. Is there something about Coach Woolery that we don't know about? It could be funny, could be interesting, could be unique. Anything along those lines that comes to the top of your head that you might want to share?
Yeah. I completed the world's most dangerous half marathon in Mosul, Iraq in 2004.
Explain that.
Special forces were putting on a morale booster, and they had a half marathon around the base that we were stationed at in Mosul. And our aid stations were 50 calibers mounted on the back of aid trucks, and we ran a half marathon around the base. So it was pretty interesting. And then they gave shirts to the finishers that said the world's most dangerous half marathon, because there were mortars coming in while we were running the race. And not many people can say that, but it's a good memory.
See, do you still have that shirt?
Oh yeah. I don't wear it very often.
I was going to say, I hope you still have that shirt after all. Wow, I would see. Yeah. That's something that I've never heard. That's wonderful. And thank you for your service, by the way. I just wanted to say that as well.
Thank you.
So, Coach, anything else that I'm missing that from your team this season? just coaching philosophy, coaching message, or about this group that people should know about? Anything that I'm missing that you'd like to add?
No, I mean, I've hesitated to really speak out this season because I was a little disappointed in how things worked out for us last year. We had a great season, and then we ended kind of on a flat note. So I've just purposely focused on strengthening the team and helping us be the best that we can so that we peak at the right time and hopefully have a better showing this year than we did last year. And that's really all I can ask for. I trust in my girls. I know that they're willing to go out there and be warriors on the pitch, and I love that.
I love